Good afternoon to the both of you.
Good to see you as always.
So what do you mean what we eat can be messing up our hair?
Well, people never really stop to think about that. What you eat actually creates a balance or an imbalance inside the body. If you eat the wrong type of foods, it can actually create an imbalance inside the body, and if the body is in balance, it's out of whack. If it's out of whack, then it's like leaves falling off of a tree. Hair is going to fall out.
I know that from the old detective shows like Quincy Jones and Murder, She Wrote, that they could test the hair and find the poison. And essentially, there's something to that.
Exactly, exactly. When we're testing hair, basically what we can find is whether there is a nutritional deficiency within the body or if there's an excess of toxins within inside the body. Either or of either one of these factors could create a hair loss or could create a scalp disorder.
What types of foods are we talking about?
We're talking about basically when you eat foods, there's basically two types of foods. There are foods that you eat that make the body acid, and then there's foods that you eat that makes the body alkaline. And most of the time when people think about foods, they're thinking about foods for weight loss. Most diets that are out there just basically show you how to lose weight. But people never really thought about eating for health. When you eat for health, then that's going to be reflected in your skin, it's going to be reflected in your hair, it's even going to be reflected in your nails.
Yeah, I don't know if it's related or not, but oftentimes when people are under great stress, they'll suffer sudden hair loss. Is it a release of chemicals in the body? I mean, how does that work, and is it related to the idea of nutrition?
Exactly. What happens when the body is under stress? You know, stress is a good thing, you know. Most persons, when they're under stress, stress is designed to put you in what we call either a fight or flight type mode. In other words, when you're under stress, the body prepares itself by the digestive system quits functioning, the heart begins to start pumping vigorously, more blood is pumped into the vessels of the body, your adrenaline really goes up, and that's a good thing because for just a temporary short period of time, the body prepares itself for either the fight or flight. The problem is with continuous chronic type stress, the body never takes a break from that type of stress. It just goes on and on and on, so your body continuously stays in this fight or flight type mode, and that's what does the damage to the body over a period of time.
And so it would be a gradual hair loss then in that case?
Sometimes it could easily accelerate at a very fast rate. We've seen men and women that have come into us, especially when they're under stress, and they'll get this excessive amount of hair loss. They'll call in their complaint that says, when I woke up this morning and I combed my hair, I saw an enormous amount of hair in the sink or an enormous amount of hair in the comb. So it could be gradual or it could accelerate at a very fast rate.
Is that a problem that can be corrected, obviously, by taking away the stress, but by changing the diet? You know, and how much of a change are we talking about here one way or the other? Probably not a very great change.
Well, here's what we tell persons, that when we talk about acid-type diets are basically when you eat animal protein, when you eat dairy products, or when you eat grains. All of these make the body very acid. When we eat alkaline-type foods, which are your vegetables or your fruits, that makes the body alkaline. Now, if a person is really serious about testing to see whether or not the body is too acid or too alkaline, they can actually take pH strips, which when they come in to see me, we have pH strips that we give them that they can take home. They can actually test their urine to see how acid the body is or how alkaline the body is. Also, for stress, they can actually take some of their saliva and put it on the same pH strip, and they can test to see how stress is suppressing the body within inside.
Wow.
So then a person with a vegetarian diet would be okay?
Not necessarily. They're going to be more alkaline. But the problems with vegetarians is they keep themselves stressed out. You know, they worry all the time. They worry about the amount of meat you and I are eating, you know. So, you know, where their diet might be, quote unquote, okay from an acid alkalinity basis, a lot of times they just seem to be more worriers. So when we test their saliva, they seem to have the type of factors going on within inside their body that puts them in the same category.
But short of stress, they're doing dietarily what they need to do to develop a healthy head of hair.
Exactly. They're on the right track. Sometimes the problem with vegetarians is they have to understand the body also requires a certain amount of amino acids, which are proteins. If they don't know the right type of vegetables in order to eat, then they may not get all of the amino acids. The body requires 21 amino acids. Now, it can make 10 on its own, but it also has to have 11 that you have to take in on a regular basis. And if they don't know how to combine from the vegetable group those other 11 amino acids, then they can come up nutritional deficiency in the amino acids.
And if I remember right, your hair and your fingernails are mostly made up of protein.
Right, keratin protein, exactly.
Has there ever been a study done to see who, this is a perfectly male and vain question, who loses their hair more frequently and to a greater extent, vegetarians or carnivores?
That'd be a little hard to answer on that particular basis.
Because it would determine which way I would go.
Right. You know, going the vegetarian route is not bad. I mean, we tell persons that, you know, that's an individual personal choice if a person wants to decide to become vegetarian. The problem is that we in America, we just eat far too much meat in this particular region of the country.
Everything in moderation, then.
Yes, everything in moderation to keep the body balanced.
Now, what are some good foods, then, for us to develop a healthy head of hair?
What I tell persons is to eat on a daily basis 4 times more foods from the vegetable and fruit category than they do from the meat category, from the grain category, and from the dairy category. So at the end of the day, if you've eaten 80% more alkaline type foods, fruits and vegetables, to 20% of meats, dairy products, and grains, that keeps the body balanced.
You were saying that there was a particular diet in mind that really does affect the hair and scalp. I don't remember which it was, but it's one of these fad diets that everyone's been trying.
Yeah, I think it's called the male diet. I think it's real popular now. But again, the problem with that type of diet is it's only designed to lose weight. You know, a lot of the diets out there that say that you can lose weight, they were only designed to be for a short period of time. They were never designed to be long-term. A lot of times persons go on these type of diets and they try to stay on those type of diets.
They treat it like a way of life.
They treat it like a way of life, and then that's the ones that we begin to start seeing the amount of hair loss, the bad skin, and the poor nail quality.
Rodney, before you go, we have to put up the phone number. I don't know if we've done that yet, but we usually get so many calls for you. Why don't you give everyone the number? Call him. Don't call me. Don't call Rodney. Again, the number.
It's area code 214-904-0330.
All
right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good as always to see you.
Thank you for having me. Good.
Well, no one wants to lose their hair, and if they do, it can be devastating. 20 million Americans suffer with hair loss and scalp disorders. Sometimes the cause is genetic, but not always. The science of trichology gets to the root of the problem, so to speak. Joining us to talk about this is Rodney Barnett, and he's brought with him one of his patients who's been with you for about a year now, June Eden. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I should say also that you are the president of the Trichology.
Local chapter of Trichology.
All right, great. Now, we haven't heard a lot about Trichology. Explain a little bit more about it.
Well, trichology deals with the scientific study of the disorder of the hair and the scalp. Normally, if a person was having a serious skin problem, they would go to a dermatologist because derma means skin. Tricho means hair in Greek. So if a person was having problems with losing the hair or having scalp disorders such as scaly scalp disorders, then they would seek out the advice of a trichologist.
June, you started losing your hair about a year ago. Tell us what happened.
All of a sudden, I had a bald spot in the back of my head, and my hairdresser, she worked with me to no result. And I was in search of a trichologist, and just through reading the Ebony magazine, I happened to discover Rodney.
What was the cause of your hair loss?
Well, we attribute it to my lifestyle, high stress, as well as my nutritional intake, low quality, junk food, things to that effect, and my stress level was extremely high.
Now, Mr. Barnett, a lot of women who lose their hair shouldn't be because it's not necessarily genetic for women.
Yeah, it's abnormal for a woman to lose their hair, unlike men who